Yo, what's going on, guys? Happy Monday, December 18th, 2023, and welcome to a brand new edition of what we call the Clash of the Champions. I am your host, the vegan you believe in, Kurt Cadet, aka Conscious Kurt in the flesh as always, and my co-host needs no introduction, but fuck it, he's gonna give y'all one anyway.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is his tag team partner, Jonathan Randall. At your guys' service, you have so much to get into today. Ladies and gentlemen, you could follow our information about our podcast on both of our social media platforms. Follow us on Instagram at thechamps.clash and on Twitter at thechampsclash. How you doing, Kurt?
I'm pretty well, man. Just gearing up for the holidays, gearing up for my trip to New York, New Jersey next week. And yeah, it's been a good couple weeks, bro. I've been in good spirits and looking forward to seeing where it takes me going forward.
That's good, man. I forgot you were going to New Jersey for Christmas. That's awesome. I
New
hope
Year's, New Year's.
everybody.
I'm going for New Year's.
Oh, New Year's, my bad. I hope everybody's enjoying their holidays. Thank God, I've got my holiday shopping done, and I just got a CM Punk hoodie. And it's funny. Speaking of, because of his merchandise, CM Punk's his merchandise sales went through the roof, as reported last week. I was wondering, what was the information about his sales, but it hit six figures, Kurt.
Damn.
I'm not surprised to hear that. But like I said again, man, like when he came back and then with his merchandise being on sale, I knew it was going to hit a big number. I was just curious on, what are the sales information about that? But six figures, that's amazing.
Yeah, and just like 1 month of being back, this dude is already making so much noise, and
Yeah.
not saying and I can't say I'm surprised.
No, I'm not. I love his merchandise. I love the hell frozen over thing, but hell has been freezing over the past couple of weeks. And Kurt, let's get into it.
Yeah, since the last time we spoke to you guys, CM Punk was making his way around different shows. SmackDown being one example a week and a half ago for the Tribute to the Troops show. He cut a pretty good promo that night, actually. He made a reference to the whole punching people in the face backstage thing when he was talking about Kevin Owens, because he was talking about like possibly having a face off with Kevin Owens, and he was talking about how him and Kevin Owens are a lot alike. He just said that like, I don't know what Kevin Owens' problem is. He can't just go around in the back just punching random employees in the face. That stuff's not acceptable in 2023. Yeah, he's making a reference to like how Kevin Owens punches like Grayson Waller in the face backstage every now and then in backstage segments. But the thing was, when he said that, it didn't really get the reaction I thought it would. Possibly
Mm,
because of the crowd they were in front of.
true. But that whole entire segment, way better than his first one on Raw. But I loved how he kind of like he got everybody involved. He talked about LA Knight and they ate it up. Like, oh my god, like CM Punk knew who LA Knight was. Um, I loved how he talked about Roman Reigns. Love that. Making the reference like, look, Tribal Chief, I acknowledge you, but you just remember who's the OG Paul Heyman guy is. And that's true. That is true. CM Punk is along with Brock Lesnar, those are the true OG Paul Heyman guys.
Yes, that is a good point. But we all know that Roman's being saved for someone else at WrestleMania. We'll get into that later.
Yeah.
But he did reference the fact that like he's gonna finish his story before Cody finishes his, which was a good way to end it off. And I think they also had like a face off backstage afterwards. And it's funny, I
Yeah.
saw a meme of that face off with them backstage, with both of them saying to each other, "We both escaped AEW."
That's funny. But I love what he said, and it makes the story more juicier because now you're looking at this, you're like, man, who's going to finish the story first? Who's going to do it? And I love this whole setup and build up they're having for a Royal Rumble as of late. Loved it because now you're asking yourself, man, who's going to win a Royal Rumble? Who's gonna how are things going to connect? As we're, headed towards, WrestleMania, you know what I mean? So, like I said, I'm excited for next month. I just wish this month it could, already end so we could get to Royal Rumble already. But, patience with the storyline is perfect.
Yeah, definitely. And Punk would make his way to NXT the next night just to make a little appearance. And everybody in their right mind knew he wasn't signing with NXT. And anybody who
Right.
thought he was going to sign with NXT, yo, what the fuck are you even smoking? And let me know so I could have some too.
You crazy. But yeah, it is. I mean, it's kind of similar to to Undertaker back in 2007. He won the Royal Rumble, and everybody was speculating, where he was going to go. Either he was going to go stay on SmackDown, go to Raw, or ECW. Everybody knew in their right mind knew that he wasn't going to challenge Bobby Lashley for ECW title, so that was out of the question. But with this one, same thing with CM Punk. Like, he's not going to go to NXT. I did like the fact how he took a selfie with Shawn Michaels. I thought that was funny.
Yeah, and we forgot to mention it on the last episode. That picture that Punk took with Triple H backstage at Survivor Series was the equivalent to when Vince McMahon and Eric Bischoff hugged in 2002.
Oh yeah, the unholy alliance was. Yeah, so he made his appearance on NXT. So then the following Monday, he was going to make that official announcement. I knew what he was going to do. It made perfect sense to made of what decision that he was going to make. So he shows up on Raw in Cleveland, Ohio, and he pretty much announces that, hey, I'm going to be on Raw.
And ironically enough, Cleveland, Ohio was the same place where he had his initial WWE debut in 2005 before he was sent to OVW. And Cleveland was also the place where in 2008 he was attacked by Randy Orton backstage at the Unforgiven pay per view and then stripped of the World Heavyweight title.
Yeah,
And also, most infamously, Cleveland, Ohio was the site where he officially walked out on WWE the night after the Royal Rumble in 2014. That was the exact same place.
crazy.
So yes, it all came full circle for him to sign with Raw and officially claim that he was home. And I did like the fact that he mentioned how people were disappointed with how he left 10 years ago and how like people felt like they were let down by him by leaving 10 years ago. And he even referenced Indy Hartwell backstage, how they had a conversation about it. And he referenced how like he felt when Roddy Piper showed up in WCW to kind of relate to her. And he said like sincerely that he understands why people were disappointed and that he also apologizes for it. Damn, didn't see that coming.
Well, that's understandable because I mean, I'm going to admit it too. I was disappointed too when he left 10 years
Well,
ago,
I was bummed. I was
almost
bummed.
10 years ago.
Yeah, I was bummed, bro.
I was very bummed out. I had a gut feeling that if he would have stayed, he would have. I wanted him to main event WrestleMania. Didn't happen. When he did left, I was still holding on to the fact that hey, maybe he'll come back later that year, but it never happened. So it was those big what ifs that year. It was look. I'm not saying 2014 was a bad year, but I just felt it didn't feel right with him not being there.
Yeah, it was just so weird how it happened.
Yeah.
And it left a big void in the roster. As great as Daniel Bryan was, as great as the Shield dudes were, and everybody else on the roster, losing Punk was a major loss. Major loss.
Yeah. Yeah, and it really helped the fact that with Daniel Bryan getting hurt later that year too, though. But yeah, that was just it was a major blow to the roster because you just felt like it's like when you have that missing tooth, that gap tooth, you're missing that tooth in your teeth. You know what I mean? And I think Punk was that person, and even the following year, you're always saying like, man, like can CM Punk come back and you know what I mean? And the crowd will still chant his name even when they go to Chicago, mainly. But it was just a big loss. And it's funny how the Royal Rumbles on January 27th, the same day to 10 years ago when Punk left.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
Yeah, but admittedly, as bummed out as I was that he left, the way he described like his last few months there and all like the shit he was going through and dealing with, he had to get out of there. There was no other way.
True, and that's the soft part I understood because when I found out about how he felt, and you're kind of like, you know what, I feel differently. You know what I mean? If he feels that way, we have to respect that. You know what I mean? So
And I could even
yeah.
tell by watching the show, like those last few months he was there before he left, I knew something was off. I knew something wasn't right. And
Hmm.
he confirmed all of it.
Hmm.
And I wanted to hold
Yeah,
out hope that he would eventually come back, like throughout that year. But then once he dropped that interview with Cole Cabana, I'm like, yeah, this dude's not going back there anytime soon.
or ever, like, and then especially with the with all the ties that he cut off with certain individuals from the company. You know what I mean? And I just, when I started to hear more and more information about it, and then he's gonna do other things and all that stuff, I kind of like, I don't think he's coming back, dude.
Yeah,
You
then
know
he
what I
went
mean?
to
I held on to it for a year. I tried to hold on to it for a year, but after that, I think once 2015 came around and going into 2016, I let go of the fact of that thought of, okay, what if CM Punk came back? I let go of it.
yeah, once he went to UFC, you were like, yeah, he's not coming back. And then the UFC run turned out
Yeah.
the way it did. It turned out to be a disappointment.
Oh man.
And
Yeah.
then he
Big
was on
time.
that backstage show, that WWE backstage show they used to have on like Fox Sports a couple years back.
Yeah, I remember that. And when I saw that, I kind of like, okay, maybe he could. I was surprised about that because that's a WWE produced show, and I was like, wow. And then I kind of like that feeling again. Okay, what if he could come back? But nothing more.
Yeah,
And how long was he on that show? He was on that show that long, was he?
like 6 months, give or take. But it was Fox that wanted him, not WWE. It was a Fox call to bring him in.
Yeah, true though. Even though it was a WWE produced show, because I remember it was on Fox Sports. I remember that, but still, you're working along with other WWE employees. Booker T was one of them.
Yeah, but like you said, it never materialized into like an in-ring return. And there's stories that have been coming out lately that he wanted to come back then, but it didn't work out, or like they didn't want him back. And he also wanted to come back like around this time a year ago, but he was still under contract with AEW. And also considering what happened at Brawl Out, they weren't interested in him either. And then like when it just happened recently, that was like the third time's a charm type thing.
True, true. I got you.
And then he had his run in AEW, which we've talked about on this podcast, especially throughout this year. Didn't end well by any stretch. And now he's back in WWE. He's officially back on Raw. And as he's celebrating the fact that he's back on Raw, Seth Rollins comes out to interrupt Punk. And Seth Rollins goes on
Ooh.
to cut one of the best promos of his career as he tells Punk to do him a favor. And that favor was simply, don't ever call this place your home again.
Before we get more in depth with that segment between Seth Rollins and CM Punk, let's get into the fact of the stare down that they had before they even said a word to each other.
Oh, it was great. It was
My God,
great.
it was just absolutely, it was more than great. Words cannot describe. I think the word great, Kurt, is more of an understatement because that face off that they had was just mind blowing and legendary. You knew that what's going to be like going into the following year. It was just absolutely just perfect. Just had that stare down between each other. And that's how you're supposed to do a good promo, man. Like you have that stare down, it was just very intense, and you knew something was going to pop off, and it did.
Oh, yes, it popped off in a major way. We've been waiting for this for weeks, especially after what happened in Survivor Series when Rollins flipped the fuck out when he saw Punk as if like the Chicago Bears lost the Super Bowl. Yeah, so we were really waiting over it. We were really looking forward to this segment. And then
Yeah, I know I know he's more upset after what happened yesterday,
oh yeah,
but
and speaking of football, let's have a moment of silence for John Randall and his Chargers as they had one of the most horrific beatdowns in the history of football this past Thursday. And I'm very sorry that
yeah,
you
I
guys had
know.
to go through that. I sincerely mean that.
I'm sorry. Well, I'm sorry too, though. But like I said, I don't want to get more in depth into it. But all I know is that when in order to have a bright future, you have to have a letdown sometimes. And
At least it looked like you had
yeah.
fun tailgating from the pictures I saw.
Oh, of course. Oh, yeah. That's tailgating remains undefeated as always, no matter who you cheer for. Tailgating is like the prime top tier moments to have as a football fan, no matter who you cheer for. Tailgating remains undefeated. But anyway, so yeah, back to that segment. So just absolutely amazing. This could potentially, and I tweeted this could potentially be one of the great, rivalries in our business. We have Brett, Sean, Austin, Rock. You could put, Hogan, Andre. I don't know which one you like more, Hogan or Andre, or Hogan or Savage, but um, they're up there. I personally could see Seth Rollins and CM Punk as just an all time, great rivalry in our business, especially how personal it is, and it really did get personal. So yeah, Seth Rollins goes on talking about how he pretty much defended everybody in the back and all that stuff. I stand up for everybody in the back, and I'm not going to let you come in here and tear this down and all that. Just pretty much defending what he's building. And after, when he did reference about how you come back here and you left and you try to come back and you try to, yeah, Seth Rollins took offense to it. I mean, who wouldn't? You know what I mean? And you're the current champion right now. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, he basically talked about how Punk left, and for the last 10 years, he's done nothing but bash the company and put the company down and put people in the company down. And he said, this is my home, this is our home, and I'm gonna protect it with all my power from people like you. And then he goes on to say that, just so there's no confusion, and just so you know I mean this when I say this, I hate you. And one of two things is gonna happen. Either one, you're going to self-destruct and you're going to expose yourself, and I'm going to be the first one there to close the door on your legacy for good. Or two, by some miracle you have changed, and if you can still hold up, maybe you'll find yourself in a title match with me one day, and then I'll wrestle circles around you, I'll embarrass you, and then I'll be the one to expose you. So then, yeah, after he said that, Punk grabbed the mic and said, "This is the only time I'm going to let you talk to me this disrespectfully without me coming after you back." And then he officially said that he will be entering the Royal Rumble, and then when he wins, Rollins could be the champion he possibly goes after. And that ends the segment.
love that.
Holy shit, son.
Loved it.
Holy shit. They did exactly what they needed to do. They gave us just enough of Punk and Rollins where we were satisfied, but also not enough where we still want more.
You have to be patient with it. And also, one of the things that I loved, now you're my God, you're putting more thought into your head about, man, what's going to happen now? So now we got to ask ourselves, well, who's going to win the Royal Rumble? Who is going to finish their story first? Is Cody Rhodes going to, win the Royal Rumble back-to-back years? Or is CM Punk going to win the Royal Rumble?
As of now, they're the only two entered, and yes, it is very interesting to think about which one could end up winning. I definitely think it is between the two of them, and after seeing this segment between Punk and Rollins, I know it's not official, but this is definitely our Night 1 WrestleMania main event, and
Definitely.
that I'm happy about that. I'm looking forward to it, and that officially puts any rumors of a CM Punk and Stone Cold Steve Austin match at WrestleMania to bed.
I don't know why they came up with that. I thought that was silly to me personally.
I mean, look, I wouldn't mind seeing it. It would be great, but I think the Punk and Rollins story has a lot more potential and a lot more they could do with it.
It does.
Punk and Austin.
Yeah, it does. I don't know how they'll do that with Austin, but I just, with Punk and Rollins, that has so much writing into it. That's so personal. That's a bigger story to tell than Punk versus, Stone Cold. Like, no offense, but yeah, it's already set in stone that Rollins, Punk for night 1, Cody Rhodes versus Roman for night 2. So again, but how they're going to pave the way of who's going to win the Royal Rumble, that is a big question. I don't know. I feel like CM Punk will win the Royal Rumble, but we will have to wait and see. You know what I mean? I don't want to jump into conclusions, but man, how they're going to pave this story is just, oh my God, I'm excited for it. And again, I'm just a little bit jealous that I'm probably not going to go to WrestleMania next year, man, because if things are a little bit different, I will go, but dude, I told you in our last episode, Kurt, I told you, so CM Punk coming back, this WrestleMania now coming up is going to be bigger than ever.
Oh, it's going to be huge. And that segment alone is more than enough to make me want to go to WrestleMania.
Yeah. And speaking of that segment, the views that they had within like a day or hours got so many views on YouTube. I even watched it on YouTube. Like
Oh, it did
it
ridiculous work
garnered up.
online.
Yeah, it garnered up a lot of, I think, over like was it 1.2 million views, I think, if I remember.
Yeah, around that neighborhood.
Yeah, it was a lot. So that shows you. And like I said, man, it was funny because I was at the store earlier. I was wearing my CM Punk hoodie, and one of the employees noticed my hoodie. He's like, "Hey, I like that hoodie, dude." Like, and it goes again, dude. That shows you like how popular this dude is.
Look, like him or not, we've been critical of Punk on this podcast multiple times, and I don't know
Yeah,
about you, but I stand on a lot of the things I
I have.
said. But
Yeah.
regardless, the dude draws interest. The dude does equal ratings. And that shit's important. And I'll even admit myself, having him back on WWE and having him in the mix for WrestleMania makes everything a lot more interesting than it was beforehand.
I'm telling you right now, just I think wrestling in general really just put a spark in it. It gives me more. I'm not saying I'm not, excited, but prior to that, but it's like I'm way more excited now to like sit down and watch Raw, watch SmackDown. Let's not forget about Randy Orton too. You know what I mean? Because like last week on SmackDown, I was just like, oh my god, like I can't wait to watch it now. I'm gonna like, what's gonna happen? With Orton coming back and CM Punk coming back, and it makes things more interesting. And just with the merchandise sales, man, like when you hear the sales number that he got, as I referenced earlier in our episode just now, bro, this is like Stone Cold Steve Austin numbers, Hulk Hogan numbers when it comes to merchandise sales. You know what I mean?
Bro, Punk was the first person back like 10, 12 years ago to outsell John Cena in merchandise. He was the very first one to do it.
Oh,
But
that's right.
that was the thing. But that was the thing. When he was there 12 years ago, it was a completely different WWE from the WWE now. Because even though they gave him the title for 14 months and all that jazz, let's be real, for the majority of that title reign, he was playing second fiddle to John Cena.
I know, I know. We talked about that before, and that was upsetting to see that. And we talked about that before.
But now in this scenario, you could definitely tell it's going to be a different vibe and a different ball game. They're going to do right by the angle as opposed to squandering it.
Yeah, and like I said, like we both had our opinions about Punk, and I shared them with you. And look, I'm always been a CM Punk fan, even before the whole pipe bomb, bro. I went out of my way to watch ECW just to see him win the ECW title against John Morrison. Even though ECW was a complete joke at the time, I just wanted him to have that accomplishment. That meant, as a fan of him, to see that.
And I'll admit, when I first started watching wrestling again in 2012, he was one of my favorites. Like during that period, him,
He
him, and Daniel
was.
Bryan were like two of my favorites. Like when I started watching again.
Yeah, he was like my all-time favorite. And that storyline with Chris Jericho, that was like the last one that really propelled me into ordering that WrestleMania that year because look, I knew about Rock versus Cena. We all knew about that for a year prior. Undertaker and Triple H was Hell in a Cell was like, oh, okay. I was like, you know what? I may want to watch now. But then when I saw the CM Punk and Chris Jericho storyline, that was like, all right, I'm sold. Sold.
I was there, bro. I was there.
Sold. I'm ordering it. Sold.
Bro, what a great night. Like honestly, when I think of the year 2012, one of the highlights of that whole year was going to WrestleMania. That shit was incredible, man.
I bet. The kind of same thing with me for this year. I'm finally going to
Yeah,
WrestleMania this year.
I'm telling you, I hope you get to go to more WrestleManias in the future, and I hope they're fun. But but just go in knowing that it won't ever be the same as the first time. It never is.
No,
It'll still be fun. It'll still be great, but it's just never the same as the first time you go to one. It's never the same.
I get what you mean.
Getting into 2012, like when we first started watching wrestling again, I have to say this calendar year, has been the best year of wrestling I've experienced and the most fun wrestling has been since I started watching again in 2012.
I believe you when I hear that.
There have been solid years here and there.
I'll admit, 2021 was I enjoyed 2021. I think 2020 was another fun year that I look back at. But yeah, this year was hit differently.
There was like a lot of great events, a lot of great angles, a lot of people jumping ship from one company to the other, a lot of controversy for better or worse, a lot of surprises. Yeah. But we'll get in more depth of all that stuff in next week's episode when we do our year in review show. But yeah, having Punk back in the mix definitely does make WrestleMania season more interesting. But I do think he will win the Royal Rumble, and I think what they're going to do with Cody is probably a similar storyline to what they did with Shawn Michaels in 2010 going into WrestleMania.
So, okay, Cody he feels like, okay, I need to win a Royal Rumble. He doesn't, but he had to force himself to he literally had to like force Undertaker to accept the match. So Cody,
that's what I mean, a desperation.
Yeah, like a desperation. That's what I mean,
like building up.
Yeah, like a desperation thing. So do you think that they're gonna do they'll do like a number one contender thing at Elimination Chamber?
Of course, bro. They always do that. Yeah, so we'll probably win it Elimination Chamber. It's all good. He doesn't have to win the Royal Rumble 2 years in a row. If he does, fine, but Punk never won a Royal Rumble before, technically. So I would not be mad at it if Punk won.
Right. Here's another thing that we forgot to mention, too. So WWE is going to be on like a holiday tour, I believe after Christmas. 2 shows during that tour. CM Punk is going to wrestle.
Yes, Punk will be wrestling Dominic Mysterio December 26th at Madison Square Garden in a jailhouse match commemorating SummerSlam 91 in that same arena.
Yeah.
Ex-Con Don is going to be coming back after a long hiatus, and he's going to have a jailhouse match with Punk. I wonder what Don's reaction is going to be when they put the cuffs on him and put him in the paddy wagon.
Lord.
I wonder if they do skits with him like they did with Mountie, where like he gets like hit on by like one of the other guys.
Yeah, they're gonna CM Punk and Dom are gonna wrestle Madison Square Garden, right? So there was another show they're gonna have in Inglewood in the Forum. Aren't they gonna wrestle there too?
Yes, Saturday the 30th.
Yes.
The same night of World's End for AEW in Long Island, which I might actually go to.
Oh, you're actually gonna go to that?
Yes, I might either go to that, SmackDown next month, or AEW Revolution in March to go see Sting retire.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, but CM Punk will be wrestling on those shows. And also, January 1st, they're going to have a Day 1 edition of Raw. So instead of doing that pay-per-view Day 1, they're going to do it as a part of Raw. And the main event for that show is going to be a match for the World Heavyweight title between Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre, who actually put out Sami Zayn several weeks ago and put him out of action. So Sami Zayn we are not going to be seeing for a while. And he also defeated Jey Uso last week in very brutal fashion. And now it's looking like him and Rollins are going to have another rematch on Day 1.
I wonder how that's going to go. I wonder, will they, because I was thinking they maybe have their final matchup at Royal Rumble, but we'll see how it goes.
I think more than likely that match is going to have like a disqualification or something. And they're going to have a rematch at the Royal Rumble.
Okay.
Because the run McIntyre is going on lately, and his heel turn is official now. After what he did to Sami Zayn.
Of course.
And Jey Uso, Drew McIntyre is that heel now.
Yeah.
And basically, he attacked Sami Zayn and did what he did to him as a way of writing Sami Zayn off of TV because Sami Zayn apparently asked for time off.
Yeah. I was about to mention that. I was wondering if they did that so they could write him off to give him time off, because that was reported that they gave him the time off that he wanted. So that's good. That's good that you get some time off.
Yeah, maybe he'll be back for the Royal Rumble. But I see Rollins and McIntyre like having another match at Royal Rumble, so we'll see how that turns out. We're also more than likely going to get Cody and Nakamura again because they wrestled on Raw last week, but it ended up being a
Yeah.
disqualification because of the miss.
Yeah, man, that's crazy how that whole thing started, man. How like in a good way, that's cool that Nakamura's in a feud like this. But that was just so crazy how that happened, man. So Cody announces that he'll be in a Royal Rumble. Nakamura comes out, sprays the miss. They have a match, and again gets sprayed by the miss again, dude. That's just wow, crazy.
Yeah, so they more than likely will have a match on that edition of Raw. I think they're also supposed to wrestle each other on the house show at Madison Square Garden next week too. And also probably they'll add CM Punk and Dominic to that Raw on January 1st too. They'll probably add that match on
That
there.
would be cool. And you know what's funny? We're talking about the holidays and time off and all that stuff. Let's get a round of applause to Triple H for giving the superstars time off, like around Christmas time.
Yes, Randy Orton opened up about that in a recent interview.
Yes.
He said one of the main things he's noticed that's changed with Triple H being in charge is Triple H like really making an emphasis on making sure that people have time off to be with their families for like special occasions, for birthdays and things along those lines. And also he's making an even bigger emphasis on that by giving everybody the whole week off for Christmas.
Yeah,
So tonight is actually going to be the last show that they do for a whole week.
that's good.
They're going to be off from tomorrow up until Christmas Day, and then their next show
That's
isn't until the 26th show at the Garden.
that is amazing. That is absolutely amazing. That is so good to hear that because, like, look, being a wrestler, look, we're not wrestlers, but we know about the business. We know about times on the road, away from family, friends, and all that stuff. It's not easy. This business is not for everybody. So that is good what Triple H is doing by giving them time off to be with their loved ones especially during this time of the year. Big round of applause to Triple H.
Yeah, good shit, because realistically, people can go 1 week without wrestling shows. People can go 1 week without going to a show,
Hell
watching
yeah,
it
bro.
or watching a live
Yeah,
Raw. One
yeah,
week isn't going to kill people for not having.
right.
I actually remember 6 years ago they did have Raw live on Christmas Day.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, and now looking back at it, it's like, bro, why? Why? Who the fuck is gonna want to watch Raw on Christmas Day?
right.
Yeah, but good shit. And I think especially considering Triple H's health scare a few years ago, he has like more of an emphasis on that and more of an understanding of that not only for himself but like everybody that's around him. So yeah, shout out to Triple H for this. This is a very good move, and I'm happy that
Hey,
they're getting this time to be with their
dude,
families.
it is all about ownership, man. When you have good ownership I'm telling you that the head of the table makes a big difference in your company, no matter what it is. Kurt, you even talk like Kurt, didn't you always talked about how bad your ownership is for the Knicks, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, trash.
Every Knicks, yeah, yeah, and that's you're not the only one because that's how I feel about my Chargers because I do not like my owner because I try to make this short, but my owner does not do a good job on hiring good coaches. He's always hiring, being cheap and hiring former coordinators and not, coaches with actually good head coaching experience, and we get cheap results. Our coach is not good. So I hope for after him firing the coach Brandon Staley, I hope that he really like okay, I need to really hire someone like really good. You know what I mean? And a lot of people say, including myself, wish we had different ownership and things would be different. I believe the same thing. Same thing with wrestling. No offense to Vince McMahon, but dude, ever since he stepped down and ever since Triple H has been the one in control, yeah, there is a big difference. A big one. Not just with the storylines and everything else, but with this right here, giving the wrestlers the week off during the holidays, that is a big plus to hear
Yeah,
that.
morale is a lot higher with Triple H in charge. And yeah, tonight's Raw is going to be the last live televised show of the year for WWE. The next televised show isn't
Oh,
until the
right,
January 1st Raw.
right.
Because like this coming week, SmackDown was already taped this past Friday after the SmackDown we saw.
Okay. You talked about, is there a restaurant you talked about in New York? How about like it was like just bad because of ownership, and then once they had a new owner, it all changed. Did you always talked about that?
Yeah, I've worked in many restaurants where, yeah, like the ownership was really bad. And yeah, when you had bad ownership and you had bad management, yeah, it just made for a bad place to work and a place where like you just dreaded
Yeah,
coming to work every day, especially when you can't rely on the people you're supposed to rely on. And the people you're supposed to
right,
rely on are disrespectful and inconsiderate and
right.
like just don't have any people skills. And yes, when you have to go so long being in that environment, it is very refreshing when you are in an environment where management does care about you legitimately, when management legit does look out for you, show concern for your personal issues, and makes things easier for you and makes your work environment a happy place to work as opposed to an unhappy place to work. That's the kind of work
Thank you.
environment we all should strive to want to be in. And also for people in charge of those work environments to strive to make possible.
I agree.
Yeah, so shout out to Triple H and toast to him because I'm actually having a drink right now. Yeah, good shit. Yeah, good shit. I'm happy the wrestlers are getting that time. I'm definitely ecstatic for them because I know it's been a long year, especially this year with how hard they've been all running. And yeah, I'm glad they're going to get this week to catch up with their families, catch up with their significant others, maybe some old friends, and yeah, good shit. I'd like to see more of this. But like, let's get into what happened this past Friday on SmackDown as we had the return of Roman
Yes.
Reigns for the first time since Crown Jewel over a month and a half ago, where he defeated LA Knight.
Wow. How long?
But Roman Reigns was interrupted by Randy Orton,
Yes.
who recently re-signed with SmackDown since we last spoke to you guys. And he even laid out Nick Aldis with an RKO to commemorate him joining SmackDown. And he was fined $50,000, but he actually gave Nick Aldis $100,000 to pay for when he does it to him again.
That's an insult. That's an insult to injury. Oh wow.
And Randy Orton came out to officially challenge Roman Reigns for the championship at the Royal Rumble.
Which I knew was going to happen. That's the perfect way to talk about. I mean, he talked about how the bloodline took time away from him and he wants to get back at them. Easily. Easily, you're going to settle with Roman Reigns. Easily.
And he closed this segment by saying that Daddy's back.
Yeah.
Randy Orton did have a match at the end of the show with Jimmy Uso, and he ended up picking up the win. But after the match, he was attacked by the Bloodline, but was assisted by LA Knight, who was also attacked by them. But coming to their rescue was a returning AJ Styles, who we had not seen in the past 3 months. And he laid out Roman Reigns with a phenomenal forearm and then cleared the way of the Bloodline. But as him, Roman, and LA Knight were standing tall, AJ Styles knocked down LA Knight with a clothesline and then just left the ring to end the show.
Yeah. Crazy. And you saw that look on Roman's face and Paul Heyman's face, even Orton's face, just confused, just like everybody else, confused. You attack Roman Reigns, you're helping Randy Orton, LA Knight, but yet you take out LA Knight. I didn't understand that. And let's also get into the fact that AJ Styles looks in better shape now compared, times, prior. Looks more fit, in better shape now than he has ever has been.
Yeah, bro, he put on mad muscle. He's been eating those peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Eating that quinoa and beans. That's what I eat after my workouts.
But yeah, like, can you try like to dig into like what was the whole point of that? Maybe like we'll finally get some answers on a following episode of SmackDown. But yeah, I thought that was weird.
I don't know if he's turning heel or anything, but yeah, it was very odd that he did that. I guess we'll get our answer like in the coming
Yeah,
weeks, but I think it's making the dynamic for Royal Rumble season a little more interesting. So now it's going to be like Randy, AJ, and LA Knight fighting to see who's going to get the title shot against Roman. So they'll probably like in the next few weeks, probably the first SmackDown of the new year, probably the January 5th SmackDown, they'll have a triple threat to decide who gets the title shot against Roman at the Rumble.
true.
And I think Randy Orton will probably win.
Obviously, yeah.
Yeah, but I like this AJ Styles change in attitude. It kind of makes sense because LA Knight took his place in the tag match with Cena at Fastlane because originally AJ was supposed to be in that match against the Bloodline, but they took him out, and then LA Knight took his place. So that might be a factor in why he attacked LA Knight, because LA Knight kind of like took his spot away in a sense.
Yeah, it is a good point. But like we said, we'll see what happens in the coming weeks. I'm just curious, what, man, what's the reasoning behind all this? That's crazy.
All right, but anyway, unfortunately, we have some sad news regarding Charlotte Flair as during a match last week on SmackDown with Asuka, and as they fell off the top rope, Charlotte's leg happened to hit the top rope really badly, and it was bad to the point where she had to be helped out after the match. And come to find out now, she's going to be out for 9 months.
Yeah, so which means he's gonna miss WrestleMania.
She's going to miss Royal
Yeah,
Rumble, she's going to miss WrestleMania, and possibly SummerSlam too.
damn.
Fucking A, son.
When did you predict it for her spot to be at WrestleMania? You had said anything about that prior to that? If I'm trying to remember.
I was thinking maybe Bianca Belair, because they never really finished that feud between the two of them that started over the summer.
Right.
That kind of made the most sense, but obviously now that's off the
Right.
table.
Man, I feel bad for her.
I feel horrible. Yeah, it sucks. The worst fucking timing.
Yeah.
And in the 8 years or so she's been on the main roster, she's never once had an injury like this that's kept her out for a significant amount of time. She's taken breaks, but she's never had like an injury that put her out and would put her out for this long. Yeah, this has never happened to her up until now. Fuck.
Yeah, let's hope for a speedy recovery.
It may have been a torn ACL as well as an MCL and meniscus.
Damn.
Yeah, because I was even hearing after the match that she had to be helped out, and she looked like she wasn't doing well, and come to find out, this is the end result of it. And she would put up a story out on Instagram with the heartbreaking emoji, and yeah, I really feel for it. It's fucking horrible.
Man. Oh, just pray for a speedy recovery for her, man.
Yeah, me too, bro. And she's put on some stellar matches at WrestleMania over the years, including this year against Rhea Ripley. So yeah, it's gonna suck to
Yeah.
not have her on the show this year, and just suck not to have her around. Period for the next 9 months.
Oh man.
Yeah, but Charlotte, we wish you a speedy recovery. We're very sorry that this happened to you, and we just hope that you get back on your feet physically and mentally sooner than later. I mean that.
Yes.
But there are rumors circling around that a certain someone may be returning to WWE in the beginning of 2024, and that certain someone's name is Mercedes Mone.
Yes. Known as Sasha Banks.
In her WWE days, yes, she was known as Sasha Banks, and rumors have been going around the last few days that she is not going to be going to AEW. Any talks of them coming together or making a deal kind of fell apart, and it's not going to happen anymore. And in all honesty, I don't think AEW is a good place for her right now. So if that's true that she's not going there, that's good news. I don't think AEW is a good place for her right now because they are not in a good momentum swing. Their women's division isn't used to its full potential and is not a high priority to them right now, clearly. And yeah, it's just not a good place right now. That place is going through some issues that they need to work out, and that's not a good spot. Not a good spot.
Oh man. I mean, I'm telling you, it will spice things up. I'm telling you, wrestling is more bigger and interesting than it is now. You bring Sasha Banks back, really is going to kick things into high gear.
She said in a video a few weeks ago she would be returning to a major company sometime in 2024. She didn't say what company that would be. It could be WWE. That's a very strong possibility. It could be New Japan. It could be Impact, so she could work with Naomi again. But WWE would not be a bad place for her to go back to right now. It would not be a bad look for her at all.
No, it wouldn't.
And with Charlotte being out right now, there's a void in the roster that she could very easily fill.
Especially with Sasha. No, sorry. Especially with Charlotte Flair being out, that's the
Exactly.
void she can feel. Yeah,
She could have Bailey's back in the feud with the Damage Control girls going into WrestleMania. She could maybe even have a rematch with Bianca. She could have another match with Bianca because they never finished that story either.
true.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing her come back. I mean, if she wants to, it's up to her. But that would be great if she would come back. That would be fucking incredible.
I'm telling you, it will kick things into high gear.
But I know we haven't done our review show yet, but I think Triple H is definitely deserving of the award for Booker of the Year. No question about it.
Oh yes.
This has been the year of the most consistently good pay-per-views in a calendar year since 2000.
I agree with that.
Yeah, because 2000, I think total had only like maybe 3 or 4 bad pay-per-views.
Uh-huh.
And none of the pay-per-views I think this year were really bad, but the only ones I would say that were like maybe underwhelming were SummerSlam, Fastlane a little bit, and Crown Jewel was just okay, I thought, too.
I mean, I didn't mind SummerSlam. I liked it for what it was, but I mean,
I think I kind of say that mainly because like the main event was a little bit of a letdown, and yeah, it wasn't as strong as some of the other shows.
yeah, I mean, the main event was I mean, but we shouldn't really just judge the whole event just based off of one match. I mean, I think every show was gonna have that one sleeper match. You know what I mean? That's how it
I mean,
is.
it wasn't
You
a
know, but
bad show, but I'm just saying like out of the good shows that happened this year, that wasn't as good as those shows were.
hmm.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun getting into those shows like Elimination Chamber, the Elimination Chamber with the Sami Zayn and Roman match, and Backlash with Bad Bunny and Damian Priest. WrestleMania is even though WrestleMania had a sour ending, it was still a great show, especially night one.
Right. Let's not forget about the Royal Rumble that year too. You know, with Sami Zayn
Oh
hitting the
yeah,
chair
that
on Roman. That was a lot of people say that was like, you know, outside of CM Punk coming back at Survivor Series. You know, a lot of fans say that moment, you know, at the Royal Rumble, saying that was probably like one of the all time greatest moments of this year.
also when Ray finally stood up to Dominic and knocked him down and accepted his challenge for WrestleMania.
Oh
Yo,
yeah,
that was great.
yeah. There's a lot of stuff we could get into in our next episode because, yeah, boy, it
Yeah,
was a lot that
definitely.
happened this year. So
Mercedes coming back to WWE would be great. I think probably more than likely it'll be New Japan. If I had to maybe take a guess, it'll probably be New Japan because I feel like she probably has unfinished business like on the indie
mm,
scene. But if she ends up coming back to WWE, I'll be thrilled. Yeah, I'll be fucking thrilled.
I would too. I think everybody would be, you know, especially how the way things ended. But yeah,
Yeah, that's not how she wants her career in WWE to end. That
yeah.
Yeah, like I know she definitely even if she doesn't come back now, she'll eventually come back to WWE, I think. Definitely sooner or later.
Okay.
And other women's wrestling news, Liv Morgan this past Friday was arrested in Florida for possession of marijuana and synthetic cannabinoids, but was released on bond since then. And apparently there's no heat on her within WWE for this, and they're not gonna hold it against her really.
Thank God. I felt so bad when I heard about that news. I was like, damn it. Oh, I was like, man, you just gotta be careful these days with your personal life outside the business, man. But I mean, I don't know, man. It's kind of similar to RVD back in
Yeah,
2006. Like he got caught, yeah, man, but you know, he actually got punished for it. You know, oh man.
but people's attitudes about weed have changed a lot compared to
Oh
2006.
yeah,
It's
oh
legal.
yeah, big gap between 2006 and
Yeah,
2023. Yeah, that is true.
it's legal in almost half the country now.
Yeah,
And granted, you have to be more careful in states where you know it's not legal, but bro, it's weed. It's fucking weed. It's 2023. People have either tried it or people do it and they know how to be responsible with it and be able to maintain responsible lives with it. And bro, grow up already. It's fucking weed.
I agree. I don't really smoke.
It's not
Yeah, I
that
don't
serious.
smoke it like that though. But it is what it
Yeah,
is. What state did she get pulled over in? Did they
Florida. I just told you Florida.
Florida? Oh, Florida. Okay.
Yeah, and Florida's like very ass backwards when it comes to a lot of laws, and that's no exception.
Ah. Ah.
Weird place, bro. Weird place. I lived there most of my
I
life.
know.
Weird place.
Oh, I know. I hear a lot of stories on the news about weird stuff happening in that state. And no offense to my dad's side of the family, but man, yeah, weird stuff.
I still appreciate my time there, but yeah, a weird fucking place. But that's besides the point. Whether you like to smoke weed or you're not into smoking weed, I don't think you should be cool with anybody going to jail for weed, regardless of whether or not you do it.
True.
Being happy that somebody goes to jail for it, gets locked up for it, that's some fucked up shit. That really is.
Right.
All right, but hopefully Liv Morgan learns a lesson from this. Hopefully she doesn't get into any serious trouble, and hopefully she can move on from this and put it behind her.
Same.
But it came out last week that AEW is reportedly going to lose $34 million this year.
Ooh. 34 million?
Although they made a $176 million profit, I believe, they're going to lose $34 million this year.
Ah. Oh, that sucks, man. It's bad.
Yeah, it's been a rough year for them, bro. It's just really sad to see as a fan of the product. Just not one of their stronger years by any stretch. Just so many dark clouds hovering over it, so many strings of bad luck and controversy and just negativity surrounding it. And yeah, just really sad to see, bro. It really bums me out to see them, going through the issues they're going through now.
I think with that, and also you think about the attendance record, man, and their shows just declined.
Yeah, bro, I see pictures from Dynamite, Collision, and all these shows all the
Yeah.
time, and the arenas are half fucking empty. Hell, the AEW show, the Dynamite show I went to last year in Atlanta, half the arena was empty that night too. The
Wow.
part of the arena that's not where the camera's facing at, yeah, there were nobody sitting in those seats at all. Barely anybody sitting in those seats. And for the most part, I like the product. For the most part, the product's still pretty good. They have solid matches.
It's not generating people to show up or enough.
That also they've had a dark cloud over them with a lot of the backstage bullshit with the CM Punk stuff,
Yeah.
and then Adam Cole got injured recently. Also, the women's division they don't really treat with the respect that it deserves, I believe. Yeah, the
And
women only get one segment.
also, speaking of injuries with that, I also heard Kenny Omega got hurt too.
Yeah, Kenny Omega put up a post on social media from his hospital bed saying that he would be out indefinitely. He said he held on as long as he could, but he just basically couldn't anymore. So he's going to be out for God knows how long. But it was revealed that he does have diverticulitis, the same thing that Brock Lesnar had that took him out of UFC.
Oh,
All right, that shit will fuck you up real badly. All right, that shit is not to be fucked with. Yeah.
really?
Even Brock Lesnar said himself that shit kicked his ass.
Like, what exactly is that? If you get more into detail about that, because I've never heard of anything like that before.
It's an infection in one or more small pouches in the digestive tract.
What?
So if that's what he has, yeah, that's not good. He's going to be out for a long time if that's the case.
That's crazy. I wonder what causes that. Maybe. Wow.
Yeah, Brock Lesnar had that shit bad. That's pretty much what led to the end of Brock Lesnar's career in UFC.
Wow.
Yeah, fucking A. But yeah, hopefully Kenny Omega gets back on his feet sooner than later. I really feel for him right now. I can't imagine what he's going through, and fuck, man, it's horrible news, horrible fucking news.
That is.
I know he had that injury last year that he came back from, and he seemed like he was on the right path. But now this shit happens. He was in a tag team with Jericho. They were going to go for the tag titles at World's End. They were supposed to have the match, but now that shit is off the table.
Wow.
Fuck, man. But yeah, hopes to him getting a speedy recovery, man. Because yeah, it's some horrible news. Like I said.
Yeah, for both Charlotte and Kenny Omega, speedy recovery, man. That's pretty scary to hear about Kenny Omega's, man. I've never heard of anything like that. I got to look into what's the cause of that though. What is it called again?
Diverticulitis.
Okay.
And also another sad, unfortunate news. Condolences to Jade Cargill as her mother passed away last week due to cancer.
Yeah, yeah, I heard about that, man. There's just our condolences to her and to her family. It's not easy to lose a loved one, especially your own, your
A parent.
parents.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Condolences to her, man. I feel so sorry to hear about that.
Yeah, I saw a picture of her online, with her holding her mom's hand, as her mom passed away. And yeah, she put the caption, I guess, until we meet again. Yeah, it's horrible, man. I really feel for her. It's sucks to lose a parent, especially around the holidays, bro.
Yeah.
Man. I'll never forget my sister-in-law's brother passed away 6 years ago. Actually, last week was the anniversary of it. And yeah, literally 2 weeks before Christmas, like that shit just happened out of nowhere. Horrible, bro. One of the most tragic deaths like in my family that I've experienced, probably. Yeah, definitely one of them that stands out.
Yeah.
Yeah, but horrible for I feel horrible for Jade Cargill. It sucks. Condolences to her and her family, and hopefully they can get through this rough time that they're going through.
Yes.
I'm really thinking about them. I did see pictures of the premiere of Iron Claw last week, and like John Cena was there, MJF was there.
I heard good reviews.
Yeah, there's a lot of Oscar buzz actually surrounding it.
Oh wow. I know it did good. Had a good review on Rotten Tomatoes, but the
Yeah,
Oscar ones did not hear about that. I really want to watch this movie.
yeah, it comes out this Friday. I'm really looking forward to it. I may even go see it on Christmas Day.
Okay, okay.
The only time I ever went to the movies on Christmas Day was to go see the movie Hook.
Oh wow, that long? Wow.
This around the time you were born, as a matter of fact. Holy shit, yeah, around the time you were born,
What the fuck? Shit.
December 1991.
I don't want to make you feel like you're old, dude. I'm sorry.
It's all
Damn.
good. It's all good, bro. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Holy crap. Wow. It came out in December that year?
Yeah, December.
Wow.
If you know the Von Erich story, it's a very sad one. It's a very sad, tragic, and unfortunate story that really will break you down. I definitely am gonna expect to cry during this movie. I'm not ashamed to say it, but I am gonna
You
be expecting to cry.
you know what? If they were to make a wrestling biography movie, right? I would love to see one about Eddie Guerrero.
That would be good.
Wouldn't handle it. I don't think no one would, but I think the storytelling would be very great to hear and to see. Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, just a sad story with that family. I know I watched that documentary a couple years ago that WWE put out about World Class Championship Wrestling and the, Von Erich family several years ago. And yeah, it was a good documentary. I learned a lot from it, but it was just one of the saddest ones that they ever put out because just so many deaths, bro. So many deaths. Like I've never watched a documentary from WWE where like that many people
Wow.
died. Yeah, she was rough to watch, bro. I'm not gonna lie. And this movie is gonna be not for the weak at heart. Whether you know about this story or not, just brace yourself when you watch this movie because it's gonna fuck you up. I know it's gonna fuck me up, so I know it's gonna fuck y'all up
Wow.
too. Brace yourself.
Well, like I said, when a movie comes out, I'm definitely gonna take the time and watch it. Just like too many movies I that came out this year I need to watch. So that's another one on the list.
Yeah, it's crazy. Out of six siblings, only one is still alive, which is Kevin Von Erich. And they were actually on Dynamite last Wednesday.
Wow, crazy.
I'll never forget the one story that creeped me out the most was the story I heard from Bret Hart when like Kerry Von Erich was in WWE. They would have conversations, and Kerry Von Erich would tell Bret Hart that his brothers were calling him and that he felt like he needed to go to them.
Uh,
And Bret Hart would basically try to talk him out of it, saying that you have two little girls that are still alive who need you to be alive for them more than your dead brothers need you.
right. Wow.
Yeah, some sad shit, man. I remember when he first got to WWE, he was doing okay. Like they gave him the IC title right away and like had him feud with Mr. Perfect. But then as the time went on, he just like went further down the card. And then yeah, within 2 years he was gone. And then right after he left, like literally 6 months after WWE let him go, he killed
Damn.
himself.
Damn. Ah, boy. And that family's from Texas, correct?
Yeah, Texas. Yeah, that's exactly Dallas, Texas. Yeah, the Sportatorium.
Ah,
Austin grew up on them. Anybody who lived in Texas like during that period, they know about the fucking Von Erichs.
wow.
Rock has talked about them a lot too. Rock even referenced them on an episode of Young Rock this past season.
Oh, okay. I'm still bummed out they had to cancel that show, dude.
Me too. Yeah, it sucks, but what are you gonna do? I'm just happy
Yeah.
that Abbott Elementary is coming back.
Oh, okay.
All right, bro. But anything else you want to get into tonight?
No, that's about it, man. just I can't wait for this month end, and I'm excited for Royal Rumble. I can't wait for Christmas to end as well, man. Because like, look, I enjoy the holidays. I enjoy Christmas, the spirit of Christmas and the festivities and all that stuff. But man, financially, ooh, it's rough. I'm glad I got all my Christmas done shopping, so finally that's out of the way. Just looking forward to Christmas, and I'm looking forward to a new year going into Royal Rumble. So, and I can't wait to hear more of the big storylines coming up. I'm quite sure you and everybody else is looking forward to the same thing as well.
Hell yeah, bro. But it's the holiday time, so we don't need like a lot of new content when it comes to wrestling for the next week or so. Let people have a week off to chill with their families. So that's all good. But then once the new year starts and everything starts building more towards the Royal Rumble, yeah, it is fucking on. It is fucking on, son.
Go time. Go time. Just like the new start of the new season.
I gotta ask you though, what would be a worse fate for you? Having to listen to the Mariah Carey Christmas album like over and over again, or having to watch an all-day Friends marathon?
I would rather listen to Mariah Carey's Christmas
Damn.
than watch Friends. Like, no
Damn.
offense, dude. Like, no offense. Look, God rest Matthew Perry's soul. Okay, God rest his soul. But I just can't get into Friends. I'm sorry.
I get it. It's not for everybody. I personally enjoy it.
Like, the fact that they took that idea just from Living Single, like, seriously.
Look, I get it.
It's just,
Trust me, I get it. I get that, but that's not the actors' fault.
Well, still though, I just can't get into it. Like, I actually watched 5 minutes of it, and it's just like, this is not funny to me. Like, I like Seinfeld way better than Friends.
Nah, Seinfeld's the one I couldn't get into for whatever reason. I don't know what it is, but Seinfeld's the one.
Seinfeld was hilarious. I watch Seinfeld was freaking hilarious. I get it, it's not for everybody either. My girlfriend's not into it, but like, I love it. Like, that show's freaking hilarious.
And I'll be honest, I didn't get into Friends until like a little over a decade ago. I never watched Friends like while it was on, like when it was on NBC. I never once watched it.
Right.
I didn't really get into Friends until they started putting it on Nickelodeon.
Oh yeah, wait, was it Nick at Night?
It still comes on Nick at Night. It's been coming on Nick at Night for like 12 years.
Yeah, I can't get into it.
I just gave it a chance. Like when I gave it a chance, I'm like, yo, honestly, this shit is funny. I like it. It's entertaining. It's not my favorite show, but I enjoy it. I enjoy Friends.
Okay.
All right, but hope you guys have a good Christmas holiday. Hope you guys have fun. Hope you guys are responsible, and hope you guys spend time with family and get to catch up with some loved ones and have a lot of good vibes, have a lot of good times, and have a Christmas worth remembering and a Christmas that you could look back on and say, like, damn, that Christmas of 2023, that shit will go down in history. I have good Christmases, but that one was just fucking special. I hope you guys have a Christmas like that. I hope we all have that kind of Christmas and New Year going forward, as corny as it sounds right now. But hope you guys enjoy yourselves. Hope you guys make the most out of it. Have fun. God bless. John, hope you feel better. I know you're feeling sick right now and even sicker because of what happened to your Chargers, but hope everything works out in the end. And
well, you'll be feeling sicker after what happened to this Lakers and Knicks game. So,
well, we'll see what happens. Not as sick as I would be if I had to watch Survivor Series 04 again.
You see that was like the worst one. You say 1993 next time, please.
Or Batman Forever. My bad, Batman Forever. Or it should have been just Batman
or
5 more
Karate
minutes.
Kid 3.
Oh yeah, Karate Kid 3. Fuck me. Karate Kid 3 is some fucking traumatizing shit. Yeah.
Keep Batman Forever out of your mouth, please.
I used a line about Batman Forever in this battle I was doing with my best friends.
Really? You talk about that movie more than Karate Kid Part 3.
It is what it is. But in any event, for John Randall, this is Conscious Kurt, a.k.a. Kurt Cadet, for another edition of the Clash of the Champions. Take care. Have a good one. Have a good Christmas. And we'll see you guys next week for our year in review show of 2023. Have a good one, guys.